Hi, this is Dr. Ben Morrill. Welcome to episode 70 of Reptile Genetics Weekly. Glad to have you here. We do have a cool story to tell you today. I'm excited to get to that. Got some chimerism stuff to talk about. It's a topic we haven't talked a lot about. We've got an excellent example for you all today. But for sample updates, we have once again fast tests going out. Allie's back, and so fast tests are going out pretty much every day. We'll have sex determination results go out a couple times this week. So all of that's back to normal. And then panel tests, the next batch of results will probably come out sometime next week, probably late next week. So at about a week and a half from when you see this. But yeah, the other thing is I've been burning hard with lots of new data that I've gotten and some new different ways we're doing things. We're going to have several new tests available, but can't talk about them yet. We're going to drop multiple at a time. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a really fun episode where we'll have a lot of cool stuff for you. But we want to make sure we've got everything lined up and set up properly, and we will drop them all at one time, and hopefully even have a few more a couple weeks after that. So it's going very well. It's a lot of fun. Got some cool stuff coming. So anyway, Kayla, how are you doing?
Hey, Ben, I'm good. Been sitting on my hands on the stuff you've been telling me about that we've been working on. So I'm so excited because I want to make those posts and be like, guess what we're dropping now. So really excited. But I'm doing well, and I am so excited to talk about this cool chimera animal that we've got. So let's get through some business stuff and then we can get to it.
Yes.
So first up, bulk discount stuff. This is for anything, sex determination, any ball python mutations, of course. It is baby season. We got those pictures of girls on eggs because it is that time. And so if you want to order in advance, throw together a spreadsheet of what you want tested, and then send us an email. Sean can probably not only honor the discounts that you get on Morph Market and Clutch, but also potentially give you an even steeper discount. So please check it out. If you think the prices are a bit costly when you're looking at big numbers of tests, shoot us an email. We might be able to hook you up. So.
And even if you're not a spreadsheet person, just send an email to Sean and just tell him what you're thinking, and he'll be able to hook you up and give you a good discount.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can use those well in advance, or buy them in advance and then use them way later. So yeah, it's definitely a good deal.
And the other thing we have that we've mentioned this, we haven't mentioned it the last couple of weeks. We do have deals where if you are wanting to test a single animal for multiple mutations, this is kind of playing off of the pick 4 that we did a couple months, 3 months back, whatever it was. But both Clutch and Morph Market have these package deals, these where you can choose if you want to test for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 mutations in a single animal. So I know some people, they'll have a clutch where they have, possibility for 3 different hets, or, the various things they want to test for, several in the blue-eyed Lucy complex or the yellow belly complex. But we do have that ability both in Clutch and in Morph Market. So make sure you scroll through and look at what's available, and you can do those where you can kind of customize for each animal. You can choose if you want to do 2 tests on 5 animals and 3 tests on another 10 or whatever you want to do. And then if you do know that you want to do something like that and you send that as a bulk order to Sean, he'll first of all give you whatever that package discount is when you have multiple tests per animal, and then he'll give you a bulk discount on top of that. If you're doing 20 or more animals and you want to do it a certain way per animal, he'll really be able to give you a good deal.
And there's Matt. Here, let me put you up here. Ben, do you want to introduce him for us?
All right, Matt from American Made Exotics. You're a fellow Virginian as well, right?
Right on the line, man. We're barely over in North Carolina now. But
are you in North Carolina?
Portsmouth, man, yeah.
Okay, well, close enough.
Yeah. Everything we do is in Virginia there, bro. That's the closest FedEx and everything, man. So we're still right there. We just had to barely get out the skirts of the city, man.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
definitely seen your booth at several shows over the years, and
Mm-hmm.
come by and talk. But it's been a few years since I've gone to a lot of shows, so it's been a
Yeah,
little while. But
yeah.
you've made a lot of awesome animals over the years. You're telling us before we started recording. So when was it that you started working with ball pythons?
I started doing it for a living 2009, man.
Awesome.
So it's been a while, dude.
You've hatched out a few babies in that time.
Just a couple, man.
One or two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the reason we wanted to do this today, you made a video. You have a really nice YouTube channel, and you keep your customers updated on animals, and we'll kind of share some of that information towards the end of the episode. But we caught the video, and you shouted out to us, let us know this awesome animal you hatched out. And Kayla, why don't you pull that picture up? So why don't you tell us a little bit? You're saying before we started recording, you didn't even notice when it was first out of the egg.
Nah, dude, and like you just said on the YouTube, I do a video like for the clutch record style. So like cutting the egg, and then I wash them off and show everything before it sheds, before we put it up. Man, I had no idea. I didn't even notice it, but anybody that watches it, like I'll say, any desert ghost one, like I don't even really try to ID the desert ghost right out the egg. I struggle with it anyways. I really need them to shed out, and then it's a little more obvious for me. So we didn't even notice this until we were actually like going through babies and labeling IDs and seeing what we needed to shed test and whatnot. So we had pulled it out, and I'm like, okay, pastel desert ghost past that puzzle, and we're sitting there going through it to get the shed for the puzzle. And then I noticed the other side of it, and it's like, hold on, took a closer look, and it's very obviously like, tipping the nose all the way to the tail different. But if you're looking from the side, you don't notice. If it's angled a little bit, it just looks like a regular pastel desert ghost. See, just like that, you don't notice it at all. And then if it's flipped from the other way, it looks just like a regular pastel, and you can't see the desert ghost at all. So, quick glance, man, we didn't even notice it until we were labeling stuff, getting ready to see what the shed test.
Yeah.
That is wild. And it is just perfectly split right down the middle.
Yeah, right down the middle from, like I said, tip of the nose, tip of tail. It's just two different snakes. Depending on what angle you look at it is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I love this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead.
I was saying, I love this picture. This is also from American Made Exotics YouTube channel. That's where I got these screenshots from. Like, this is a side-by-side comparison. One's DG and one is het DG. So they're with his siblings, and you can see just like that head is so striking. And I think it's only going to get like that one's going to age beautifully as it grows.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, because for me, like I said, I can barely tell desert ghost out the egg anyways. But unlike most ball pythons, look the best they look when they come out the egg, and desert ghost is just the polar opposite of that. They get better with age. The more they shed, the brighter it gets. And then half of it's pastel, which follows the classic, like the best it looks is out the egg. As it grows, it'll get a little darker, a little dirtier. So eventually they'll both like kind of cross over there, where the desert ghost will be at its peak and that pastel will be like at its worst. And the contrast is going to be like really extreme right down the middle of it. And I think it's going to be really noticeable and just an animal then. So I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Super cool. And from like a genetics and embryology standpoint, this happens most often when there's two embryos close to each other in development, and somehow they get fused before they start separating and becoming a baby. And so you actually have two different animals that fused, and one of those animals was het for DG, the other one was DG. It's really, really cool to be able to see that, and like you said, over time it'll be an even bigger contrast. And Kayla was able to find some examples where this happens in other animals as well.
Yeah,
there's some butterflies and
like the and also, I mean, it's, I think, like both vertebrates and invertebrates, this chimerism, like in this case, I think the animal examples that we have here, the term is bilateral gynandromorphism, which basically means that they are split down the middle. One half is male, one half is female. And so what you're seeing in these butterflies and also in the ant and the cardinal are the female and male phenotypes being expressed. Or I guess phenotypes in that case. Like the ant you have the left side. I think in that species, the females have the wings, whereas the males do not. And of course, you see that dark coloration on one side. And of course, the cardinal, we all know the bright red males, and the less colorful females, and that's like completely mature animal, but it has both sides, both sides of the sexual dimorphism being expressed, and that is super cool.
Wild. Yeah. In your case, Matt, that's one out of thousands, I would imagine, by this point.
Yeah. I mean, bro, it's still super rare. I've seen tons of paradox stuff, but it'd be like a random little blotch that you can see, like, you know, a little bit of pattern. Maybe it's het something, and you can kind of see the visual form, but never something where it was like totally split down the middle like that. So uniform.
Yeah. Like what you've seen is more like on our little that little visual we threw up earlier.
Right.
The middle female has, you know, she looks like a champagne, but has that paradox of GHI peeking through right in the middle.
Yep.
Yep. So another cool one to keep. We've kept a handful of those paradox animals over the years just because they're so unique. So another one to hold on to. It's a little more extreme.
For sure. Like just that face is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, being who we are, first thing we said is, hey, please do send a shed. We want to test. I've tested paradoxes a little bit, and it's been difficult for me to get, you know, that we know that those two embryos are there. You should be two different types of DNA. But like in paradoxes where the blotches of, you know, paradox are so random.
Right.
I've had a hard time being able to show, okay, this spot is this spot's not. And so I was really excited to see this one. And so we did do some testing, and we found something interesting.
Yeah.
So for sex, we did see a male on both sides. So it is a male. And for pastel, it was a het on both sides. So it's pastel on both sides, het for puzzle on both sides. But the cool thing was we did get a straight up DG homozygous on the right side of the animal, and on the left side of the animal we got het. So even genetically from that test, we were able to see that very clear. They were very clean results. We got a clean homozygous result, clean heterozygous result, and I was really happy to see that. Like I said, I've tried it on several paradoxes, and it just has never been clean for me. But this, where it's such a perfect division, and we just took that cross section of shed and just took a piece from as far as we could on this side and as far as we could on that side.
Yeah.
We got two different results. So that would have been even more interesting if it was male on one side and female on the other. But this is still pretty crazy.
It's been even crazier, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it'd be a little bit worse luck for you, because then it, you know, may have problems breeding. But with this boy with you know, very clear division, it's very likely, don't know for sure, but very likely one peen he's gonna shoot homozygous, and the other one he's gonna shoot hets. And that is very interesting. It'd be fun in another 6 months to a year, as long as you still have them, to have you send us a sperm plug and we can run the two sides.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Pastel Desert Ghost Puzzle male, so he's just gonna be kind of like a cool, unique pet, man, pretty much. But I want to see it raise up, man, so it'll still be here.
Yeah,
that'll be a good one, especially after a year or two when the contrast is really there. It'd be a great one to have at shows, to show people, talk about.
Right. Yep. So stick around just to see how it turns out, man.
Do you have any name ideas for him?
No, not yet. I'm sure my daughter and wife will name something. So man. So I'm sure they'll come up with something. They've already been brainstorming it. So it'll definitely be staying here. So
as cool as he is, and it'd be cool to see the sperm plug. And it's kind of funny because I know that males will sometimes like prefer one side or the other when breeding. So even though he's not going to be a breeder for you, if he was, it's like you kind of hope that he'd be shooting from his homozygous side for DG. But
it'd be cool to see though, because if it could go either way, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
That would make a multiple paternity clutch even more difficult to figure out. Potentially.
Pretty cool.
The other thing from a testing standpoint, this ship too is obviously this doesn't happen very often. And so this is kind of like the case study we talked about, a week or two back, where we were talking about a parthenogenetic outcome. This is also very rare, but it does show that, if you send a patch of skin in and it is some kind of, and it could be split just like this, but not have pastel or DG. And we wouldn't know for sure, which side, if it was like a het to a normal, we wouldn't know which side was het. So you could essentially test one side and say, okay, this is a het DG, and the other side would say it's negative. And then, you wouldn't even be able to tell on the outside because it's, het versus non, unlike this one where it's homozygous versus het. So that's just another example of, the genetic testing is a huge tool that's helpful a lot of the time, but there is no test that's perfect. It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it's going to help you raise those 50% posets up to like 99%, or the 60% posets up to 99%. But there definitely is still going to be crazy things that happen, and this is an excellent example of what can happen.
I mean, if anything, like I almost find it more interesting than the bilateral gynandromorphs where they're split male and female on both sides, or I guess just intersex to save some syllables. Like it's the fact that he is split so much down the middle and both sides are male. I mean, I've never heard of it, and I love weird anomalies like this. I mean, I guess I'm preaching to the crowd. You guys are also genetics nerds, so or preaching to the choir. Anyway. But I mean, we also don't know if he is split. Like we're only testing outside the skin, his scales. We don't know if internally he's also split just down the middle. Because I know that snakes' gonads are like their actual gonads are like further up in the body, whereas only the hemipenes are down there in the base of the tail. So it's possible that one side got both gonads or the other one. So, we really wouldn't know until we got sperm plugs from him. But just so interesting.
Well, we'll find out in a couple months then. So
yeah.
So cool. So yeah, I'm glad we got to talk. I'm glad we got to like talk about this on the show and got you here for it, Matt, because that is just amazing.
I mean, we nerded out hard over it, so I mean, it's cool to share.
As you do.
Yeah.
People appreciate seeing it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And plus, we've also started sponsoring you, so let's do a little sponsor love and talk about what else you do. Like you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, we do, mainly for the clutch records. I've always been OCD about clutch records. When I started out, it was looking at Ralph Davis's clutch records every day, and he, always updated everything he hatched. And so since we've started out doing this, I mean, it's something that I've always done. I always get just pictures and stuff on the website, and putting it on YouTube is just kind of getting with the times. I think more so people would rather see a video nowadays than look at pictures and stuff. And I always like having all the information out there. Anytime you buy something from me, you can see all the siblings. I've just always been like that. And I know doing shows and stuff, people appreciate being able to say, okay, I'm going to pull the video up right there at the show and look at the siblings and see everything and see it hatching. And I enjoy it, and it seems that some people do. So I just like putting all that information out there. And then the flip side of it, say somebody new buys an animal from me and then they go to sell it later down the road. I know people have told me they've used the clutch records that I have just to prove that, like, hey, this is 100% het. Here it is, the photo on his website on the clutch records and stuff. And people have thanked me for doing that it's helped them sell hets later on down the future that they bought from me when they don't necessarily have like a good reputation because they haven't been around long enough yet to build one. So, multiple reasons, but I just like the information. I've always been very transparent with everything that I do. And you can see everything I hatch and stuff. So just kind of switched it over to YouTube now. Even though technology is not really my strong suit, I'm just trying to adapt with how things are now and evolve with it. So I'm not kind of left behind just as I get old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not evolve with the technology.
Awesome. I think you've been doing great. Plus, I know, like, I'm such a softie. I get attached to all of my animals, especially. And I know personally, if I had a chance to, like, pull up a video and be like, oh my gosh, there's my snake when he was first hatching out. I would be geeking out over that so hard.
I see that exact look every show at least once or twice. People
oh yeah,
on the pet level and stuff definitely get a big kick out of it. So
yeah. And that's another awesome thing you do. There's, lots of people that do lots of online and social media work, but one of the things you do, boots on the ground, you do lots of shows. So you're talking to people all the time. And really, when people have talked about since COVID, where it's been harder to sell things, really a big part of that is getting new people excited and interested in ball pythons. And you're out there. So how many, you do multiple shows a month. Is it even close to almost every week?
I like it when it's every other week, but sometimes it's 3 or 4 back to back and stuff, which is a little rough on us. And just trying to catch up with everything, keep up with everything. Try to keep the animals fed, but also let them empty out in time to go to the shows. It's tough, but I like every other week better. But sometimes it's just not how it works out. But for me, it keeps it exciting. Doing all those little shows with a lot of the pet crowd and stuff, and like entry level breeders that are trying to make an animal that like maybe they couldn't necessarily afford, so they're buying like some cheaper pet type animals, and they're gonna make this animal. But like to them, it's not about like making money; it's about making like this cool animal they're excited about. To me, that just it all keeps me in touch with why I do this, and like why we have this great hobby and stuff. And it's just not necessarily always about money and like the pyramid scheme aspect where it's talking about snakes like they're the stock market. I just like still being in touch with the people that just genuinely are into the animals, regardless of what the value of them is. Like they're just going to keep these animals and breed them and try to make cool stuff. And ultimately, I'm kind of still in that mindset too. A lot of things I do, the constant struggle with the business mindset and the hobbyist mindset inside of me, because I do a lot of stuff a lot of times that like the hobbyist in me just really wants to follow this through, even though I've had like bad odds on it for 2 or 3 years. And the business side, like I really should just buy the animal I'm trying to make, but I'll just be so hung up on like I'm almost feel entitled to it, or I'm due the odds because I've swung for it and missed for years. Like I just want to keep trying to just make my own and stuff. And like I said, man, I just relate with those people, the pets, and like how she just got excited the face about the babies. Like, man, I love seeing that when I'm at a show, and seeing somebody get their first snake and they just kind of super geek out on just the animal itself and stuff, and like the monetary values and like the whole like breeding to make money. Like it's totally irrelevant to them. They don't even have any idea that it's a thing, and not to knock anybody else. Obviously, I'm trying to make money too. I wouldn't have this many animals if I wasn't making money to be able to support the hobby. But it's just nice to still be in tune with people that just don't care flat out. They just like the animals, and it could be something that's a $50 animal that like a normal breeder would be like, oh, that's like the byproduct, like trash, so to speak. Like they weren't trying to make it, the bad odds. And to them, it's like the best thing in the world, dude. Like the coolest animal they've ever seen.
That's their new buddy.
And then, like you said, it's getting new people into the hobby. Like I see it every single time I do an expo is somebody getting their first snake and somebody that's already got their first snake, and then they just got that bug and they're addicted and like they're full sucked into the hobby now, and like they're gonna start taking it to that next level and just want to not necessarily breed to make money, but I'm gonna try to breed and make this animal that there's no way I could ever spend that much money on it and buy the ingredients to make it. And like that's cool to me too, to engage with those people and just see it kind of take off, because we all know what goes from there is you can get 1 and stop, but you don't see too many people get 2 and stop. Once you hit 2, is 10 and 15, and like you're full blown like hooked into this hobby.
They're like potato chips. You cannot have just 1 or 2. It's suddenly you end up with a whole bunch of tanks like this, like these guys stacked up. Or rack systems like behind you.
So I get that at the shows. I enjoy it, man. I'm there to talk. I usually can't speak by Monday from talking all weekend.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You actually answered one of the questions I was going to ask you. Just why you do this. So I guess I'll since you've already answered part of it, we like to ask people who come on about that. But when you've had your roughest days in the hobby, what keeps you coming back to it?
I live and breathe it for real. Like this is the best thing for me. Like I'll be honest with you, like I was an alcoholic. I am just an addicted personality. So when my daughter was born, I stopped drinking and stuff, and all I've done is one addiction for another because I just live and breathe this. It gives me something for my mind's always focused on. I'm always doing something. I always am engaged with something, and like I think I'm that type of person. I'm not happy sitting still. I don't sit still. I have to have something to be doing, and I really just love the hobby in general, and it keeps me where like I'm always mentally engaged with something.
Yeah.
You can turn this up to where it's really like a game of chess, and you're thinking so many years down the road, and like you're moving all these pieces to try to get somewhere in 7 years and stuff. I get a satisfaction from that. I love the animals. I've always loved animals. I've had animals and bred stuff since I was a little kid. So to me, it just kind of, you look around all these tubs and stuff, and a lot of us that are into reptiles, we have that addictive, impulsive personality. And like when we want it, like, I want it now. And like, I'm going to be focused on it until I make it or, buy it or do whatever. But
yeah,
I enjoy the hobby. I don't know what I would do without this many animals to take care of, to be honest with you.
It keeps us out of trouble,
Yeah, keeps me busy, that's for sure. And it just keeps me like mentally satisfied. I'm always engaged with something.
Yeah.
All right.
And no matter how many combos you make with ball pythons, you can't make them all.
And
Nope.
hey man, you'll chase this thing for like 3 years to make it or 4 years, and as a breeder, you're just never really satisfied. I guess if I ever was satisfied, it would probably get boring. But I'll finally hit this thing that I've been trying for like 3 or 4 years to make, and then you hit it, and it's like you got that high from it. This is cool, it's so wonderful, and immediately you're like, what can I do to make it better? Like, what's the next step with it? You know what I mean? You're not done. Like, where else can I go with this animal or this project or whatever? So again, that's like I said, man, turn it into where you're playing that that chess game where you're thinking so many moves ahead. You immediately start thinking, what else can I do to make it better?
Always something cooler. There's always something cool to chase.
Always going to be trying to chase something and do it better. So, but it would probably be boring if you weren't looking at it like that,
Yeah. And so speaking of which, we pulled up your Morph Market, and you've got like 90 animals listed on there, and I think that's just a fraction of what you've got getting ready to go up, right?
I think we've hatched about 700 ball pythons so far this year out of 1,200 eggs. Lots of carpet pythons and rainbow boas and Amazon tree boas and western hognose. All that stuff will
nice.
just be raising up until the winter time when we get a little more free time.
Yeah.
The balls, just get meals in them, and when we get a break from doing shows, we're gonna try to list some stuff. I got a 2-week gap before our next show, Fayetteville, North Carolina, so I'm gonna try to get listed, but technology is not my thing. I'm much happier, cleaning cages and working with the animals, but sitting down in front of that computer for 8 hours or whatever is tough for me. But,
of course.
Yeah.
What kind of hognose projects do you got?
I got a good bit. Right now, let's see, I've got snow stuff, lots of sable stuff, sunburst stuff. Xanthics. I like the Yeti stuff, like I said, the white ones.
Yeah,
that's something that we're doing small scale at the house. I've maybe got like 70 hognose, but my daughter likes them. She's grown up with ball pythons, so unless we have company, she's not really into it. She'll come out here sometimes, but it's just like, a sea of rats and cages. But other species, like, we do it small scale at the house, and I try to get her involved with it. The hogs, the carpets, the Amazons. I got a lot of it in display cages at the house, and
awesome.
We just kind of do it with her. And anything to nurture that interest in animals and get her off the tablet, pretty much. So
there you go. Animals are a great way to do that. So works out.
Right. I get it. She's growing up around the balls to her. She's just kind of numb to it. So, but you show her something that she hasn't seen her entire life, and she'll do it and stuff. So
cool.
Awesome. So do we want to do our shed donor shout out real quick?
Yep.
All right. So this week's shed donor shout out is Gobbles Reptiles. And looks like they also do hognoses. They do shorties. Looks like specifically blood pythons, and of course ball pythons.
Brittany just this last week or late last week, the week before, one or the other, she sent a bunch more sheds. So she sent lots in the past for Hatari and Monsoon, especially. Sent some more this time. She sent them, but she also sent a bunch of hognoses. So thank you so much, Brittany, for thinking of us and collecting sheds. I know it takes it takes some time and some focus, and especially if it's for something we don't have a test for yet, that's really kind to think about that and put forth that effort. And we're hoping we'll actually have a new sponsor with colubrids, and we'll be going to Colubrid Fest in September. And
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're hoping to be able to do some more for colubrid keepers and people like Brittany that take the time to collect sheds and send them in. That's what helps. Like we say, almost every show, we literally cannot do it without you all helping us. So thank you.
Oh yeah. And I think that's everything we have to. Oh wait. Something. If you're in Florida or going to Daytona this weekend, Sean's gonna be there. So be on the lookout for him. He usually doesn't sit still. He will be running around to all those vendors. So keep an eye out for him. And I think last year's Daytona, they said that everyone said that he looked like he was just like a cop impersonator because the way he carried himself.
He even had a lost kid came up to him and asked if he could use his phone. I walked past all these other adults and came up to Sean and asked if he could use his phone. He's like, "That's fine, but why?" He's like, "I'm lost. I can't find my mom." And he looked like he was someone he could trust. He looked like he was a cop or something. So
Sean does have a good trustworthy, like, yeah, I can trust that guy. And I mean, yeah, he's my boss. I like him. So no, I'm not saying that just because I'm on his payroll. He's good. So be on the lookout for him at Daytona. But yeah, okay. Are we missing anything?
Do you go down to Daytona, Matt?
Oh man, I've never been. It's like the last week of summer, and
Florida
season. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some family time in with my daughter, man.
Of
Maybe when
course.
she gets a little older and she'll actually like enjoy going down there, but man, we'll be getting some family time in probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Fayetteville's the next show for you?
Yeah, and then we got a good little break through September, man. Get her into school and stuff like that.
Cool.
I'll be gone every weekend, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You gotta get in that family time.
I'd love to, though. You know, I'd love to come down there and check it out.
Oh yeah.
Right
Awesome.
on. Well, I think that's it as far as I can think of.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us today, Matt. It was good to have you on.
It was nice to talk with y'all and, you know, meet you in person and stuff. All the chatting we've done on the computer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and thank you for everybody who's tuning in. Either whether you're watching several months from now or on the day we post it, which is actually going to be later today. So thank y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what shows you're going to, or if you're going to be at Fayetteville, Daytona, Colubrid Fest. There's lots of shows going off this summer and fall. So let us know when you'll be there. And yeah, I guess that's it, y'all. We'll catch you next week. Outro in 3, 2, 1.